What you'll learn in this episode.
Why obsessing over grammar might be holding you back and what to do instead.
The bizarre memory trick that helps you absorb 10,000 words in a year.
How repeating native phrases, karaoke style, transforms your speaking game.
The underrated daily habit that makes real conversations feel like déjà vu.
Okay, let's talk about something so many of you probably feel. Spending years trying to learn a language, maybe classes, apps, whatever, and still actually speaking comfortably feels, well, far off.
It's a super common frustration, absolutely.
So today, we're diving into this really interesting idea, a specific 45-minute daily routine.
And the claim is pretty bold fluency in about a year.
Right. And what's interesting is how it suggests skipping a lot of the traditional stuff.
Yeah, no heavy grammar books, no long classes necessarily. It's more about like structure and just showing up consistently.
Exactly. And it kind of pushes back on some common ideas, doesn't it?
Totally. Like the idea you need some innate talent for languages.
Or that you have to live in the country.
Or need tons of expensive resources. This method basically says, look, you need your phone, your brain, and, well, 45 dedicated minutes a day.
Simple setup. And it seems very focused on how you spend that time. Specific skills in a certain order.
That's key. It starts with the vocabulary. Big focus there.
Then listening, and after that, pronunciation.
Which makes sense, right? If you don't have the words.
Can't really understand much or say much, no matter how perfect your grammar is, theoretically.
Exactly. And the vocabulary part isn't just about, drilling flashcards.
No, it suggests learning about 30 new words daily, but using associations. Mnemonics.
Yeah, creating those little mental hooks to make the words stick, not just rote memorization.
30 words a day. That actually sounds like a lot. But doable with associations, maybe?
Well, think about the math. That's like 900 words a month.
Wow.
Over a year, that's potentially over 10,000 words.
Okay, that kind of vocabulary base definitely gets you into deeper conversations.
For sure. So once you're building that vocabulary foundation, the next step is listening. A lot of listening.
And crucially, listening to real stuff.
Right.
Not simplified learner audio.
Exactly. Native content, podcasts, interviews, maybe YouTube videos on topics you actually care about.
Like, if you're into business or history, find content on that.
Precisely. The same kind of things you'd engage with in your own language.
Now, I imagined at the start, you probably understand almost nothing.
Oh, absolutely. And that's expected. You have to be okay with that initial, maybe, confusion.
Right.
But the idea is, with consistent listening, plus the vocabulary you're learning daily, your brain just starts to pick up patterns naturally.
And they actually suggest a kind of timeline for that improvement.
Yeah, it's quite optimistic, but interesting. They say maybe after 30 days of consistent effort, you might hit around 80% comprehension.
80% in a month. That's fast.
It assumes you're really nailing the vocabulary part too, then maybe near total understanding within, say, 3 months.
And eventually, like 6 to 12 months, it becomes pretty effortless.
That's the goal, yeah. Effortless comprehension.
Okay, so vocab foundation, then lots of real listening. What about actually speaking?
That comes next. Pronunciation and building fluency through repetition. Shadowing, basically.
Just 5 minutes a day for this part.
Yeah, the baseline is 5 minutes. Find some sentences spoken by natives and just repeat them aloud, maybe 10 times each.
And the focus isn't just saying the words, but how they sound.
Exactly. Mimic everything. The rhythm, the melody, the pauses.
Like muscle memory for your mouth.
Pretty much. You're training the physical act of speaking the language. It also builds confidence, just hearing yourself produce the sounds correctly.
Makes sense. Though I guess if you had more time, like 10 or 15 minutes for shadowing, that would be even better.
Oh, definitely. 5 is the minimum suggestion, but more practice there probably helps faster.
Okay, so vocab, listening, shadowing.
Oh.
There's one more piece, right? Something about personalized practice.
Yes. This is about creating your own relevant sentences daily. Stuff that applies directly to your life.
So not generic phrases, but things about my job or my hobbies, family, goals.
Exactly that. Think about what you'd actually want to say about those things. Maybe aim for around 20 sentences a day.
And how does that work? Do I write them first?
The suggestion is, think about it in your native language first, then translate it into the target language. And then crucially, say those sentences aloud. Repeat them, and also review the ones you created on previous days.
I see. So you're building up this bank of phrases you actually need and use and practicing saying them.
Right. Over a month, you'd have hundreds of sentences ready to go for real conversations about your life. Very practical.
Okay, let's quickly recap the whole 45 minutes then. It's roughly 30 vocab words using associations.
Lots of passive listening to real native content.
About 5 minutes of active shadowing, repeating sentences.
And then creating and practicing those personalized sentences about your own life.
And the nice thing is, some of this feels quite flexible.
Totally. The listening part. You can do that while cooking, walking, commuting.
Reviewing vocab too, maybe. Fits into the gaps in your day.
Exactly. It doesn't all have to be sat at a desk.
So after a year of sticking to this routine, what are the expected results?
Well, claims are over 10,000 words acquired.
Yep.
Listening comprehension should be near total, like 99%.
Wow.
Speaking should be confident and fluent.
And pronunciation.
Should be good because of the consistent shadowing practice.
And all this, just to reiterate, without formal classes, exams, or even necessarily using standard language apps.
That's the core idea. It relies on your personal dedication and following the specific system.
And the person who developed this used it themselves.
Yeah, they mentioned their own success learning languages this way, and apparently others have found success with it too.
Interesting. So maybe for anyone listening who's feeling stuck, it's worth considering. Could this kind of consistent, structured 45 minutes be the thing that finally unlocks that fluency you've been chasing?